Welcome to episode 2 of Behind the Scenes for Bassmaster Fishing 2022. This month we're talking to Des about the anglers, venues and equipment in our game. We're talking about how the team make them, what challenges they face, and what improvements are coming to the game. We have got a lot to cover this time, so let's jump straight in. So Des, this is actually going to be the first time that players can play as pro anglers in game. How is the team coming along with the character creation?
It's been going great, yeah. There's a lot of challenges to overcome, but it's exciting to see the progress being made. We had to do a large photo shoot session at one of the elite events so that we could get all the reference materials we needed for the pros. So that involved taking photos of the anglers from all the different angles, which are then handed over to the character artist to then make the 3D models that you'll see in game. But it's not just limited to the faces of the pros. Obviously, they've got very distinctive jerseys with all their sponsorships on and their boat wraps. So there's a big job to work with all the different brands and partners that we're bringing to the game.
We've obviously already started talking a little bit about some of the venues in our game. But Des, can you tell us how many there will be at launch? And can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yes, so there's going to be 8 venues on launch. We're going to have Toledo Bend in there. We're going to have Chickamauga Lake. We're going to have Lake Ray Roberts, which is the venue for the Bassmaster Classic final this year. And we're also going to have the Sabine River. The Sabine River venue is a beautiful location because it offers so many different types of fishing within the one location. And it was actually the venue for the Bassmaster Elite event that we sponsored earlier this year.
That sounds awesome. I know I am really excited to get into game and start exploring these venues and finding different points of interest. But could you tell us a little bit about how the team make these venues?
Certainly, yes. So it all starts with picking the venues that we want to recreate. Now, for this game, we're working with Bassmaster, so I wanted to use the exact takeoff locations that Bassmaster used for the real-life events. So the first stage is to produce a design brief, which covers the playable area, all of the different buildings and specific bespoke assets that we might need to create for that. Then what we do is we buy in mapping data, which gives us the lay of the land, the terrain, the height information. Obviously, a lot of these lakes or these rivers are ginormous and have hundreds of square miles of water. So we have to carefully select this section of the venue that we want to recreate. Then it's over to the environment team to start populating that with all the things you see in there, such as trees, the foliage, the grass types, the buildings, any particular bespoke assets for those. There might be an industrial section, there might be residential areas and such like. One of the most important things is to make sure that the performance is there. If you put too many assets in, or if you've got too many things casting shadows, or if you've got too much going on, then it's forcing the hardware to do too many calculations and can make the frame rate drop. So all of these things are constantly monitored throughout the development process until we get to a point that we're happy with it.
Now, I know that there's been a lot of work that's been going into the different venues that we have in our game and that the team are working really hard on them. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the improvements that are coming, such as the lighting or anything like that?
So we've got dynamic time of day coming. So when the players loaded into the lake, if they're just going on a fishing trip, they'll be able to choose which time of day they start from, which brings some really beautiful sort of colours out of the sky and the environment as you go through those sunrise and sunset periods.
I have to agree with you, Des. I've seen some of the sunrises and sunsets in the new game and they look incredible, so I can't wait to show everybody more. But Des, it's now time to talk equipment. Is there any new kit coming to the game?
We've got lots of new equipment going into the game. Obviously, we're working with the pros and their sponsors, so we're going to be getting favourite rods and reels into the game. We've got Cashian rods coming in. We've got Falcon boats coming in. We've got the Mercury Pro outboard motor coming into the game. We've got more stuff coming from 13 Fishing. We've got Freaky Franks, CPF lures, and even more to come. Yeah, there's going to be lots and lots of new equipment and new ways to fish with it as well.
So I can imagine, just like with the venues, there is a lot of work that has to go into making the equipment. Des, can you share with us a little insight into how the team make the equipment that we play in the game?
Well, there's a number of different ways that we do this. Sometimes we'll get sent the actual 3D assets that's used in the production process and start with that as a base. Other times we'll get sent the physical product and then it's down to the artists themselves to hand sculpt the mesh to be the base 3D model for that item. Then it will come down to setting up the materials. So we want the plastic to look like plastic, we want the rubber or the metal to look appropriate. And then after that it's all about the texturing. Then once the artists have done their job, it's then over to the game designers who have got to set up the way that that piece of equipment functions in the game. If it's a lure, you know, what sort of species should be attracted to that lure and by what factor, what types of retrieve work with that lure, how effective the different colours are in the different times of day, the text description that goes into the game, and then the localisation that follows on from that.
So Des, with all of this equipment coming into the game, what kind of features can we expect that come with the equipment?
One of the key things I wanted to explain to you today was about the snagging feature. So obviously we're going with an underwater camera in the game, which you can have the option to turn on or off, and the player will be able to snag onto weeds or rocks or docks. But crucially, the player will also have the selection of equipment available to be able to pick stuff which is going to reduce the chances of them snagging. So using the right equipment in the right location and then skillfully controlling that equipment is going to be key to success. The whole way the tackle box system works, it's been overhauled, and the player will have it within their controls to sort of avoid these snags and make sure that every second counts. Because when you're in competitive bass fishing against the clock, which you're going to be in this game, every second does count. So the less time you spend trying to free your snag, the more time you spend fishing and the more success you will have.
Right, well, it sounds like I should get a lot of practice in, because it sounds like snagging is going to be something I'm doing a lot of. But Des, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me in episode 2. I know that you and the team are very, very busy, so I'll let you get back to work.
No problem, Tom. It's always fun to do with you, and I'm enjoying the game so much already. I can't wait to get it in everybody's hands and let you have some fun with it.
And that just about wraps it up for episode 2 of our Behind the Scenes. If you want to stay up to date with everything Bassmaster Fishing 2022 related, then make sure you're following us on our socials and head over to the website and sign up for the newsletter. Thank you so much for coming by today. We have got so much more to share with you in the future, and we will see you all in the next episode.